Hey, this is LJZ0724, and I know this is not the review of Cover by Jack Ketchum like I promised. I'll get to that eventually. I'm just excited to review this one book. I just finished it 20 minutes ago. It's a Stephen King book, and many of you have probably heard of it. It is Different Seasons by Stephen King. Um, Generally, I really like this book. If you're looking for a Stephen King book heavy on the horror, do not check this out. Okay, there's nothing really, no like blood and guts in this one. But it really does show Stephen King's like far-reaching talent and basically the the full matrix of his skills, so to speak. It just shows that he's capable of not just writing horror, but also writing something completely different. It just shows really how talented he is. And it says in the afterword of the book that Stephen King was once asked, "Is that all you write, horror?" And this book right here is basically his response. And yes, it may not be the scariest, but he made it work, and it is considered a classic in my mind. I mean, okay, the first story, Rita Hayworth and the Shawshank Redemption, which was obviously made into the movie Shawshank Redemption with Morgan Freeman in it, and that's a classic movie right there. The next book in this collection of novellas, 4 novellas, is Apt Pupil, which I think that has been made into a film. Not that, I don't think it's that popular of a film, but the story, let me tell you, it is long for a novella. It is very close to 200 pages, and it starts off with a bang. Midway through, slows down a bit, but that's common for Stephen King books. That's Stephen King syndrome, I heard one person on YouTube call it. It's a good book. The ending surprised the hell out of me. That is just a crazy, crazy ending. The next story in this collection is The Body, which was adapted into a movie called Stand By Me. Many of you will have probably heard of that. I'm pretty sure the 25th anniversary DVD came out not that long ago. So, consider another one of Stephen King's best movies. The story is good. It's about its group. Well, you probably know what it is, but in case you don't, it's about a group of kids who are basically going on a journey following these railroad tracks to a spot where allegedly this boy's been hit by a train, and they want to go observe the body and take the credit of finding it. And I thought, upon hearing that plot summary somewhere online, I thought it would not be that interesting. It would be a letdown, but let me tell you, it may not be scary. The scariest moment, let me just say this. Leeches. If you've read the story, you know what I'm talking about. That is probably the scariest point in the whole book. I mean, the whole story. But all in all, there's just so much suspense. Some parts, like when they're crossing the bridge, and they are wondering, like, is the train to come? Because there's no space for them to, like, move to the side. So basically, either they get across fine, or if there's a train, they're going to fall hundreds of feet to their death. But it was a great story. And the final story in this collection, probably the least known in this collection, is The Breathing Method, which is undoubtedly the scariest story in this whole collection. If a story in here is going to give you a nightmare, it's going to be The Breathing Method. It's basically just about this lady who is going to have a child, and she's pregnant, and the husband ran away, so just her about to give birth, and she learns this. It's like this. I don't know how to describe it. It's called the breathing method by the doctor, and it's just a method of breathe. It's a way to breathe, just calm your nerves for what's to come. And the lady gets decapitated in a car crash, and even though her head has been chopped off, she still gives birth to the baby, and you can still hear her headless body breathing. That is creepy. That is just some creepy stuff right there. Okay, so yes, all of you should know what the Shawshank Redemption is about. Apt Pupil. If you don't know what that is, it's about basically a kid becoming very interested in this former Nazi's dark past, and it just escalates and escalates into insanity, really. It is crazy how this escalates, and to think Todd, the main character, the boy, and Dussinder, the former Nazi, to think they're the only two that know about all the tragedies that are going on up until the end. So, all in all, 4 great novellas. I definitely say you should check this out. This really is a Stephen King classic, in my opinion. Really shows the full extent of Stephen King's writing abilities. It is, including the afterword, 508 pages. So it's somewhat lengthy. It took me about 2 weeks to read. So I kind of flew through it. I mean... Oh, and another really cool thing is different seasons. When you think about it, really clever name. I mean, different seasons. 4 different seasons. For instance, Shawshank Redemption in here, it has sort of a subtitle. Hope springs eternal. Apt Pupil, Summer of Corruption. The Body, Fall from Innocence. And the breathing method, A Winter's Tale. So he sort of incorporates the whole season thing throughout it. I just thought it was very clever, and showed a lot of thought that Stephen King put into developing this book. Now, I will give this a 5 out of 5. I mean, there's no story in this book that I would consider a letdown. All of it is just great. Great Stephen King right here. 5 out of 5, and I will be sure to get my review of Cover by Jack Ketchum up ASAP. I was just so excited to review this. And also, in case you're wondering, the next book I have on my whole reading list, so to speak, the next book I plan on reading is I Am Legend by Richard Matheson, which this is the copy that came out when the movie came out. As you can see, has Will Smith on the front. And I read this maybe 2 years ago, and the actual I Am Legend is really short, and I got through this pretty fast. I just would like to reread it right now to see if my opinions differ on it today, and to just get a clearer image of this whole story in my mind, because some parts are a little foggy. And I'll also be sure to read the weird thing about this is there's short stories at the end of this. So I'll also read all short stories and give you a full review of I Am Legend and all the short stories. So it's really not that long. I mean, I Am Legend is 312 pages. I should be done in about a week or less. As I said, I'll probably fly through this. Until then, thank you very much. Please comment, subscribe, or